He's the Game of Thrones expert with all the answers. And today he's revealing them to you. As global anticipation builds for the premiere of the series' 8th and final season, fan theories have gone into overdrive. Since the dramatic conclusion of the 7th season, when the Night King destroyed the Wall and his army of White Walkers invaded Westeros, millions of viewers have flocked to Reddit to share their predictions. And the man who has inadvertently become an international expert is Stuart Ward, a Scottish journalist who has taken charge of the world's biggest GoT online fan forum. Today, Ward exclusively reveals his thoughts on some of the most discussed fan predictions for Season 8. Theory 1. After being pushed off the tower ledge by Jaime Lannister in the opening episode of the first season, it turns out Bran Stark is still in a coma and has imagined all the events that followed. Ward says, "I feel like the author, George R. R. Martin, that's not his spell. I feel like that's almost too kind. He's killed off so many of our favorite characters, but the show isn't kind enough, it's too cruel for that." Verdict, unlikely his Bran Stark imagined everything. Picture APTHEORY2. Possibly one of the biggest theories that has divided GoT fans is the suggestion Bran Stark is in fact the Night King. According to fans, there have been numerous hints over the course of the series that Bran somehow morphs into the Night King using his powers as the three-eyed raven to travel back in time. His overall goal is to prevent the Great War, which includes stopping the White Walkers from stepping beyond the wall. Ward says, "It's a really interesting one, it gets people really angry more than any other theory I've seen. I think part of my skepticism of that one is that people were comparing Bran and the Night King's noses. I feel like that's colored my judgment on that somehow. When you've got time travel, I feel like the scene where the children of the forest are transforming someone into the first Night King. Personally, I think a lot of the hardcore fans see that as ruling that one out. Verdict, unlikely the Night King, or should we say Bran Stark." Picture HBOTHEORYTHREA is a self-confessed fan of J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings trilogy. Fans have theorized Martin could take a leaf out of Tolkien's books, so to speak. The key theory to come out of this suggests that, in the crypts beneath Winterfell, an army of Starks, including the affable Ned Stark, spring to life to help fight the Night King and his White Walker army. Ward says, "The thing Martin always says is, after Lord of the Rings ends, what would Aragorn's tax policies be? So that kind of says to me, whatever we have after the ending, it will be a new normal for sure, but it's not going to be a definitive, like the White Walkers will rule the world." Verdict, possible will Sansa and Daenerys eventually join forces to fight the Night King. Picture HBO, YouTube Theory 4. After defeating the Night King and his army of White Walkers, Tyrion Lannister and Sansa Stark reunite and together rule Westeros. Ward says, "I'm a big Sansa fan, so I want her to rule the independent North. But I think there's a lot of suspicion when the big push for the season has been. I think that's definitely something to take into account. I think they're a really powerful duo, but I think Daenerys and Jon have to factor into it as well." Verdict, unlikely Theory 5. Tyrion Lannister finally gets his revenge and kills his sister, Cersei Lannister, subsequently removing her from the Iron Throne. Ward says, "In the show, there's a scene that was at the start of Season 5. I think it's a prophecy where a witch tells a young Cersei that her 2 kids are going to die, but in the books, there's a line that says Cersei will die at the hands of her little brother. But they left that out of the show, but at the same time, they've always said the books and the show are going to have the same big ending. So with Cersei, every season has been set up for someone to kill her and everyone thinks that Jaime is going to die and get his redemption." Verdict, very likely will Cersei Lannister be killed by her brother. Picture HBOTHEORY6. Season 8 will open with Sansa and Daenerys going head-to-head at Winterfell, but the pair eventually join forces to fight the Night King and his army of White Walkers. Ward says, "I think knowing the writers, for the first part of the season you will probably have Sansa and Daenerys fighting each other. It's not something I'm hugely looking forward to, but that thread in the first couple of episodes is going to start building trust, and then obviously they'll have to fight the White Walkers and the Night King. Then after that, the question of course is, who is going to rule? Above all else, it's that bittersweet ending. That's the work that everything has to come back to. You've just got to think that your favorite character can die and it will still be a bittersweet ending. Verdict: very likely Stuart Ward's other Predictions:1AA, the Daenerys Targaryen or Jon Snow will die before the series ends. Ward says it will be a bittersweet ending. In one of her interviews, Emilia Clarke said something really weird. She said something along the lines of, "I'm not sure fans are going to be happy with the end. So I feel like one of the two has to probably go. But I think it's anyone's game to predict who." Prediction 2: Arya Stark discovers something sinister in the Stark crypt beneath Winterfell. Ward says there's a scene in the Game of Thrones trailer where Arya is being chased in a corridor and you can almost make out someone behind her. One of the most interesting things I read was that Arya has a cut on her face, and the only way she would be caught off guard is if it's something unexpected. So people think maybe she's been down in the Stark crypt and she's seen someone she knows and they're actually a White Walker or something, or they turn into a zombie and that's how they catch her off guard. Because otherwise she's a pretty good fighter. Will Arya Stark discover something sinister in the Stark crypt beneath Winterfell? Picture, HBO, YouTube. Prediction 3: in keeping with the tradition of previous seasons, Red Wedding Round 2 could be on the cards. Ward says, in Season 6, Ramsay gets destroyed by Sansa and Jon, then in Season 7, Daenerys and Tyrion beat up the Lannisters quite a bit, so I think we're overdue a Red Wedding Round 2. Which is pretty hard to take, but that's the kind of thing I think that will make it feel authentic.